Hi there. Welcome to my kitchen. I'm Rebecca Connolly, personal chef and kitchen coach, and I teach simple meal solutions that help you bring joy and connection back to meal times. If you're joining live, please say hello down below. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And if you're catching the replay, type hashtag replay so I know that you were here. Let's get started. So, what is something that you used to think was really hard, but once you tried it a few times, it wasn't so bad? Share down below. Maybe it was learning how to bake from scratch. Maybe it was start your business, or maybe it was even learn to drive a car. How long ago was that for you? Here's the secret though, confidence isn't something that you're born with, right? It is something that you build. And the same confidence that helps you succeed in the kitchen is the same confidence that helps you succeed in business. So today I am sharing 3 mindset shifts that will help you feel more confident, whether you're trying a new recipe or growing your business. If that sounds good to you, raise your hand down below and let's go ahead and dive in. So, my first point. Confidence comes from taking action. Think about when you first started your business or when you first started cooking. Were you an expert from day one? Probably not. Did you make mistakes? Absolutely, myself included. But did you keep going and did you get better over time? Yes, you did. So, what's the mindset shift here that we're going for? Is that I don't need to be perfect to get started. I just need to start, right? Perfectly imperfect. Action over non action, right? You learn as you go. That's where all of these sayings come from. So, for example, let's think about the first time cook versus the confident chef. The first time cook or beginner cook tends to follow the recipe exactly, right? Measuring everything, double checking everything, triple checking everything, making sure everything is exactly as the recipe wants it to be. And that was definitely me the first few years, even of personal chefing. And that was after cooking in learning to cook from my mom, from my grandma. But those were very specific recipes. Those were family recipes. And I actually did more baking than I did cooking when I was home with my own family. So I really started to learn savory cooking once I moved. Once I moved up to Boston. Once I got married. Once I had to make dinner every night. So I'm very familiar with this process, right? But that's how you learn. You learn by following the exact pattern, right? And once you recognize the pattern, once you recognize the steps, then you can be creative. Then you can extemporaneous. Then you can take those patterns and those steps and make them your own. Whereas, so the first time chef, the beginner chef, someone who's just learning, and it takes many hours in the kitchen to learn, right? Is following recipes exactly and learning. The confident chef, the one that has all those hours behind them already, though that kind of chef can eyeball the ingredients, see what's at the grocery store, see what's in the pantry, see what's in the fridge, can make substitutions on the fly, and can trust their instincts a little bit more. But that's because they've learned. That's because they've taught their instincts. That's because they've put the time in, right? So confidence comes from trying, from adjusting, from doing it again and again, not waiting until you feel ready, because we're never going to feel ready, right? How many times have we stopped ourselves from doing something because it's not the right time? Well, chances are, and more often than not, right, the right time, the perfect time is never going to come along. And we've just got to dive in if it's something that we are really, really wanting. So, what's something in the kitchen or something in business that you hesitated to try, but once you did, you realized it wasn't so scary? Drop it in the comments. One of my first clients as a personal chef was very challenging. It was actually a family of 4, a boy and a girl, a mom and a dad. And this particular family had 2 separate sets of allergy panels, like completely different sets of allergy panels. And they all wanted their own meals, right? And that's the advantage of the personal chef service is it's all customized, and I can cook to these different sensitivities, allergies, and preferences. So one of my very first cook dates took over 10 hours because I was cooking 3 meals with sides for one allergy for one half of the family that had certain allergies. And I was cooking a whole other 3 meals that I couldn't multitask at the same time, right? They had to be separate prep. So I had to basically do 2 cook dates on one date. And in hindsight, there are different ways that I could have handled this. But being a newbie, right? This was in my first year of personal chefing. I was going to do it all in the same day. And I had 2 kids at that point, under the age of 4 that were still at home. And I remember my husband calling me and saying, you can make it home today? And this was like at 5:30. And I think I had left around probably 7:30 to shop on the way to the clients, and which always took a couple hours, right? With drive time, an hour at the grocery store. This was definitely a Whole Foods, whole paycheck shop for all of these ingredients. And but I learned as I went. And I learned how to, even with that challenging of sets of allergies and preferences, because of course the allergy set that loved Italian food couldn't have nightshades. And so Italian without tomato, I couldn't resort to the usual Italian dishes, right? So I leaned heavily on my personal chef association and a lot of good suggestions and advice from other personal chefs who had more experience with very special diets. So, but I learned as I went, right? And I also learned how to vacuum pack. All the meals had to be vacuum sealed because half went in the fridge and half went in the freezer. So tell me, what is something in your kitchen or your business that you hesitated to try, but once you did, you got the hang of it? Oh, goodness. All right. So mistakes are part of the learning process. Okay. Have you ever burned a meal? Have you ever had a recipe totally flop? Have you forgotten an ingredient? Have you ever launched an offer that didn't sell? Or have you ever made a business mistake? I can say yes to every single one of those things, right? We all have. And guess what? It's completely normal, completely normal. Mistakes are part of the learning process. So here's the second mindset shift, right? Mistakes mean that you're learning, that I'm learning. I'm not failing forward, right? So just like in that story above, that for a very first year of personal chefing, I've been cooking for my own family, but then translating that process and learning to cook for different clients. That was because I'm learning to cook for a certain client's palate, right? So it's not just basic cooking skills, but then I'm also learning to flavor for them, what kind of portions they want, how they want their meals packaged, that sort of thing, right? So that first year was a very steep and exciting learning curve. And so why does this apply also to business? Every time you try something different or new in business or in the kitchen, right, there's that learning curve. Sometimes it's steep, sometimes it's a little bit more slopey. And the difference between someone who is confident versus someone who gives up too soon is their willingness to learn from mistakes. So the more you fail forward, as we say, the faster that you can learn. So if you ever had a kitchen or business mistake that turned into a lesson, share it down below. And thirdly, small wins create big confidence. So this is why when I create a client's first menu or when I meal plan for someone for the first time, I will generally start with what are their favorites and my version because we want some wins in the kitchen to get us started. Or if I am cooking a holiday meal or preparing a dinner party, right? We want to start with things that give us that little bit of confidence, and then we can build from there, right? Because winning builds the confidence no matter how small the win. So think about when you first started cooking. When's the first time that you cooked dinner without any help, or breakfast or lunch, or prepared a snack? When's the first time you felt that you really nailed a recipe? Share those down below. I would love to celebrate those wins with you. Also, think about your business. Think about your first customer or your first sale. How did that feel, right? When was your first time showing up on social media confidently? As we're all here on social media, right? So, this is the third mindset shift, that every small win is proof that I'm growing one little bit at a time. They may not be the exact results that we're looking for at the moment, but there's always some sort of growth that's happening. So, for example, my own small win in the kitchen and in business. This one took years, actually, but my first success as a personal chef was to get. I'd just thrown up my website, and I remember I got a phone call, and this is 2007. So websites were still really driving business and referrals and that sort of thing. So, and it was a busy mom who she and her husband both worked, and they had 5 kids, 2 sets of twins. And she was struggling to get dinner on the table every evening. They wanted something, quick and easy. They appreciated good food. They appreciated high quality food, no particular allergies, maybe some preferences, but they just simply were time starved, did not have the time to cook as they wanted to, and they wanted home cooked meals. They didn't want to be always picking up or taking away, or having delivery. So this was, we scheduled the first consult, and I met her and her family. They also had a housekeeper, and then we planned their first cook date. And, there were things. And over the first 3 or 4 cook dates, we learned how to work with each other, I learned how to, what sort of the structure for their meals that they wanted. And they ended up being I was their personal chef until they moved away from San Antonio, I think 3 or 4 years later. So, and she probably would have taken me with her to Houston if she could have. So that was, I stepped way out of my comfort zone, but I ended up having my first long-term client. So that was both successful in the kitchen and successful as business. So drop down, but all those small wins, right, can add up to a big success. So what's one small win in your kitchen or in your business that you are proud of? Drop it in the comments. I want to celebrate you, and I want to celebrate with you. Okay, so today, what did we share? We talked about why confidence comes from taking action, not waiting to feel until you're ready, right? Because feeling ready may never happen. How mistakes can help you learn and grow, right? Mistakes aren't failures, they're opportunities for growth. And we talked about how small wins can build big confidence in both kitchen and business. So here's what you can do next. I want you to drop your biggest takeaway down below in the comments. What's one thing that you're going to try with more confidence this week? And if you want my kitchen confidence quick guide, drop confidence down below and I'll send that right over to you. I'd love for you to join me next week. Next week, we're going to be talking about from overwhelmed to in control, the CEO mindset for both home and business. You don't want to miss this one. Remember, confidence isn't about knowing everything. It's about trusting yourself and learning as you go. I know you've got this, and I can't wait to hear how you're stepping into your confidence this week. It is your time to savor and thrive. See you next time.